Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Welcome, brothers and sisters, to this episode of Quick Fire, or I should say, Rapid Fire. Previously, Brother Yusuf hosted, he went solo, or as they say in the UK terms, he went commando the other day, and that was a fascinating, quick, mashallah show. We had a couple of pro-Israeli supporters coming on, and we're going to discuss about those individuals within this show. But first of all, I just want to mention that as we are fully aware, the situation in America right now with the attempt by somebody or some organization to get rid of Trump. Uh, Interesting going on happening there. Also with Sleepy Joe Biden, and also we're going to connect this to Gaza and the war in Ukraine. And currently, George Galloway, I've heard recently from the grapevine that he is actually putting a case forward to the police. The fact that he lost some type of malicious events taking place in Rochdale, where he actually lost his seat. And now he has contacted the police after some information which was revealed to him that there was some type of deviation amongst the Labour Party and the votes and so forth. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be very interesting. And I'm hoping, inshallah, that he regains his seat in his place of abode in Rochdale. And inshallah, he does that from the Workers' Party. And that's enough from me. And I'm really hyped up. Yeah, ballot fixing. That's right, brother. Somebody just typed in the chat. Yeah, absolutely. So, brother Yusuf Il, mashallah, Yusuf Ismail, thank you for joining us once again. I really enjoyed, and it was an honor to be backstage controlling, mashallah, your discussion. And I actually think you handled it excellently. I thoroughly enjoyed that show. Brother Yusuf, assalamu alaikum, of course, and nice to see you once again.
Walaikum salam, brother Muhammad. I think you are an extremely generous host and generous in your presence. You're doing a fantastic, I must say, you're doing a fantastic, fantastic work. May the Coventry Faith Foundation grow from strength to strength. It was indeed a raucous session, and we're going to talk about that. But, it was a pretty long session. I think it went on for about 1.5 hours or 2 hours, but we couldn't exhaust a number of issues. And I think the problem was that it went on pretty late from my side because we were going close to 1 o'clock in the morning, and it was pretty raucous. But before I go into that and delve into that, the one thing that does hit us and we need to discuss right now is there has been the Trump rally shooting. And just like you have, and I think as Muslims generally, we need to be circumspect with our information out there, similar to how you have false information, false rhetoric on the Gaza crisis. There's been a lot of false information on social media in the aftermath of the actual shooting itself. And this is basically where there's an individual called, I think, Michael Walker. I forget his name. I'll have to find out. And I haven't followed the story too much. It wasn't a mass because the individual himself was then subsequently shot dead by the Secret Service agents that were there. They didn't arrest him, but they shot him dead. I don't know the background and the circumstances pertaining to that. But there were images circulating on social media showing him smiling and grimaces of Secret Service agents manipulated into kind of grins. In a sense, trying to show that the entire thing was like a staged outfit, a staged campaign. I don't think it was staged at all. So that's one thing that we need to be circumspect about: false news, false information, conspiracy theories. Of course, conspiracies do happen, but we need to be cautious that that kind of information is out there. The problem is that in the United States, out of and I just want to find out what the population is. U.S. population as of 2024. Let's look at the census. The U.S. population, and I'll just give you let me share the stream here. And I'm shocked because I never knew it was this This was the high. If I could just share screen, present. Here we are, US population. Do a Google search. You can see the screen. This is the screen here. Look at the US population. Look at the US population. It's 341,884,099. That's the current population as of the July 15th, 2024. Today, based on the Worldometer elaboration as at the latest United Nations data. And you are telling me that out of 300 million people, that's almost half a billion, that these two characters, Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, the demented Joe, and sexual abuser and vulgar man, Donald Trump, are the best candidates you can get out of 300 million. These are the best candidates. A man who cannot finish the sentence, and an individual who is a sexual abuser, is just empty rhetoric. He's got no political background, no know-how, nothing. This is your best candidates. I mean, this is shocking. This is absolutely shocking in terms of what we see and what happens. And I think this is basically reflective of American society. The fact that American society is so perverse that these are the best candidates that you can probably get. By the way, Mohammed, I don't know if you seen, there was, this just came to mind, there was an image or a video of Joe Biden that was circulating around him. We're not going to focus too much on that. Showing him speaking out against apartheid South Africa. Are you familiar with that video?
No, I'm not. No, I haven't seen it.
You've never seen that video?
No, tell me about it.
You've never heard about that video, have you?
No, I haven't. No.
It's a few minutes, but this is Joe Biden. Now, I was surprised, but it came out now. They pick up these particular instances, these images, as to try and counter show how the individual was in his prime. So let me just show this to you. I just want to get the adverts off, and maybe I'll show this. But listen to this guy here, and this is apparently Joe Biden. But let's just play this here. I just want to share this, and you listen to the man speak, and it's like a different generation, an individual that is not a zombie, and it's someone that is not controlled. You tell me, you know the Joe Biden that you know. Listen to this Joe Biden here. I'll share the screen here.
Yeah.
And we'll play this here. And why I'm raising this, because he made a phenomenal speech on apartheid South Africa. Now listen to this. Listen to this. I'm going to play this here and expand it and play this. Listen to the speech.
Disturbs me more than the policy that you call a policy is the rationale for the policy.
Different
the rationale for the policy. You set out 4 principles that you adhere to, and then and I will go over them in a moment. Then you say on page 14, we must not become part of South Africa's problem. We must remain part of their solution. We must not aim to impose ourselves, our solutions, our favorites in South Africa. Damn it, we have favorites in South Africa.
That's George Schultz. That's the Secretary of State, I think, under Ronald Reagan.
South Africa. The favorites in South Africa are the people who are being repressed by that ugly white regime. We have favorites. Our loyalty is not to South Africa, it's to South Africans. And the South Africans are majority black, and they are being excoriated. It is not to some stupid puppet government over there. It is not to the Afrikaner regime. We have no loyalty to them. We have no loyalty to South Africa, to South Africans. And the fact of the matter is I listened to this rationale, first of all. It is the leaders of South Africa and their people, black and white, who have the majority responsibility. They must rise to it. Well, they are rising to it. They're rising to it. The only thing left available to do with that repulsive, repugnant regime of Afrikaners there. And it's the only way they have. They've tried everything for the last 20 years. They begged, they borrowed, they crawled, and now they're taking up arms. The second thing, progress toward peace requires a timetable. Timetable, elimination of apartheid. What's our timetable? What are we saying to that repugnant regime? Are we saying you've got 20 days, 20 months, 20 years? We ask them to put up a timetable. What's our timetable? These people are being crushed. And we're sitting here with the same kind of rhetoric. The same thing we heard. We heard go slow. We heard We have to take care of the problem afterwards. We heard we
You
can't
have-
impose.
You are totally misconstruing
Let me
the
read in my-
testimony that I gave.
Read first.
Furthermore, Senator, let me say that I hate to hear a senator of the United States calling for violence.
I'm not calling
That's
for violence.
what you're doing.
I
That
hate
is
to hear.
exactly what you're
I
doing.
hate to hear an administration and a Secretary of State refusing to act on a morally abhorrent point. I hate to hear this country. I'm ashamed that this country puts out a policy like this that says nothing. Nothing.
Wow.
Wow. That was
Did you
good.
hear that? I mean, that's a different man entirely.
Yeah.
This is a situation. I mean, it just goes to show. I mean, the guy's zombified. I mean, he's actually talking about the armed resistance that the ANC, and there was it ties up to Palestine, because there's the Hamas body and there's the Al-Qassam Brigade, which is a militant resistance. And in South Africa, you had the ANC government, you had the Pan-Africanist Congress, all these political parties, and then you had the armed resistance, the Umkhonto we Sizwe. These were militant organizations. I mean, they engaged in certain instances in act of terror. And the message that he was basically pointing and painting out there was a radical message, essentially calling for resistance in the face of oppression. I mean, now you just contrast. It appears to me, Brother Mohammed, that when these individuals then get to the highest echelons of power, either somehow or the other, they are systematically zombified. I mean, you look at Joe Biden, that was 1986, I understand, much younger back then. But you look at him now, I mean, even a few years ago, he wasn't as demented as he is now, but he's like perpetually zombified. It's a different man entirely. He was excoriating his own administration, attacking the United States government for its policies. Look at him now. I mean, he's like a puppet, and this is the problem. They either make you, and that's why I say that at some level, presidents are not elected; they are selected, and they are controlled. And it's quite clear that he's not running the scene. I mean, with those kind of radical views, you can't get anywhere. But you see, I just wanted to share that as a kind of a thought and tie it up with the fact that what we experience in South Africa and what the Palestinians are experiencing right now is similar in the sense that both of us experienced apartheid. Both of us were subjected to apartheid. But of course, the scale of the massacre and the genocide being perpetrated against the Palestinians is far worse and far in excess of what the South African public basically experienced. That takes me back to Saturday night's program, and we just put out the feel out there about the fact that why is it that Israeli supporters and Israelis in general, and we use the term cultural pigs, and we use the term pigs because a pig is a creation of Allah, it's a creation of God. So it's an animal, and God uses these animals. They get rid of filth. They eat the feces of other animals, pigs generally. So they are, in other words, in a manner of speaking, if I could use it in this way, they are God's, what I could say, the garbage containers created by God for all the other kinds of filth that is excreted by other animals. And so when we describe somebody as a pig as such, or piggish in behavior, it's not to run down the pig, but it's basically to run down the individual in terms of his behavior and his mannerisms and his appalling style and his conduct. And we never expected, the response that we got or the phone calls that we got of the individuals. But why is it that Israeli supporters, Zionists, and those who are pro-Israel reveal the most repugnant, repulsive form of behavior that you can probably imagine? They're abusive, they are vulgar, they threaten people, they attack you. In many instances, you've had individuals and the members of the secret agents of the Israeli regime that engage in assassinations and killing people. So this is a bad lot of individuals, and I think it manifests itself on Saturday. So what myself and Brother Mohammed have agreed to do is that either this weekend, either on Sunday or Saturday night or Sunday night, one of the nights, we'll probably work out a better schedule. We are going to have an open session And this video is a prelude to say, look, we are inviting people to the open session. This will be on either Saturday or Sunday. On Saturday in particular, now we don't support, we in Islam, the Quran is quite clear. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu innamal khamru wal maisiru wal ansabu wal azlamu rijsun min amali shaitan, that, oh, you believe, most certainly intoxicants and gambling and idol worship and the divination of arrows are an abomination of Satan's handiwork. We don't gamble. But there was an individual out there that that basically stated that he put a bet. His name was Tonto. Name is Tonto. I don't know who this guy, a white character, and he revealed himself to be a scumbag. Because why I'm calling him a scumbag? Because he started getting vulgar with us. Vulgar, using the zaps fingers, using abusive language. He was then muted by Brother Muhammad. So I will make a special request to Brother Muhammad not to mute him this time. If he wants to be vulgar, let him be as vulgar as possible to expose him. But he made a bet. He said he's willing to pay $1,000. I don't know if you saw that segment. We'll probably play that segment. $1,000 that he has a video in his possession, which a journalist or reporter that gave to him, a video which shows rape, which apparently shows Hamas raping individuals. So because we are confident of our position, I'll double that. $2,000. Let's look at the exchange rate. In terms of South African rands, if you look at rand, one time in South Africa, and this is strangely enough, during the apartheid era, in 1980, 1981, 82, £1 was equal to $1. But at this juncture here, £1 is equal to, wow. I didn't even know the figures. £1 is 23 rands, 23 rands. Wow. 63. That's how low our currency. There was once upon a time, the pound, I believe in the 70s, was even slightly lower than the rand. That's how, for some reason, powerful our rand was. This is the dynamic of how politics work. Now it's £1. £1 is 1 rand. So if you're looking for £1,000, that's basically, in terms of rand, £1,000 is about 23,633 rands. £1,000 is 23,630. That's a lot of money for many people in South Africa. Earning £1,000 or earning 23,000 rands per month is you could categorize yourself as middle income in this country, depending on your profession. £2,000, on the other hand, is in rand sterling, is equal to, I'll just give you the actual figures, 47,266.57. So this is a deal to Tonto. Maybe he can bring the Lone Ranger along with him, because Tonto was the sidekick of the Lone Ranger. If this character Tonto is willing to is able to bring a video of a Hamas individual engaged in rape. That's what he said he has, and is a journalist. He's got a video of a Hamas member that is engaged in rape. I'm willing to give you £2,000. That is 47,266 rands and 57 cents. That's a deal. If you want to have this, we don't gamble, but that's a deal. You show us a video of a rape, and if you are unable to, then I'm going to ask you to pay £1,000 to a charity that is going to be decided by Brother Muhammad. Be a man. Don't be a coward, because this video will be circulated to yourself, your friends, whoever out there. And if you are unable to show that video that you say that you have, and that this journalist friend of yours, this reporter of yours has, of Hamas raping someone, because we're going to ask you to play it. You asked me, and you said, if you have a video, will we play it for you? And I assume this video shows Hamas raping someone. So if you have that video, I'm going to ask you to play it. And if you're unable to play it, then you'll have to give £1,000 to be payable to a charity to be nominated by Brother Muhammad. So that's the challenge out to you, Tonto, whoever you are, whatever your real name is. There's another individual. He says his name was Prima Scriptura. Prima means, or sola scriptura means only scripture. That's his name. He goes by the name only scripture. I asked him for his real name. He said I was playing games with him. So if he wants to assist you with this video that they claim to have, which none of us have seen, he can also participate in it. So we'd like to share this, and we want to put this challenge out there. I'm willing to give you £2,000 if you can show me a video of a Hamas member engaging in rape of any individual. This is on Sunday or Saturday. You come in, we'll allow you to play that video. You play that video, not still images, not images of people being shot, because we know they've been shot. We've never denied that. We know that there has been people that have been killed. But you said you had videos of rape, and that's where I called you out. And you said you'll bet me $1,000. So this is a challenge out to you. So we leave that for Saturday or Sunday, and Brother Mohammed will certainly circulate this video, and we would use this as a means to invite other pro-Zionist friends or thugs or trolls come on this program, and we'll basically engage you on a number of issues, and certainly I'll have a look at some of the pointers you raise, and we'll certainly take you up. The one issue you did mention, is that you haven't also seen, and this is clear, you haven't seen a single picture of a baby being blown up. You haven't seen that. Now, I've sent many images of children being mutilated in the worst possible manner. And, with the Brother Muhammad's permission, we'll show that if YouTube doesn't, of course, cut off the stream in relation to that. So that's a challenge for this coming Saturday or Sunday. We want to invite people to ask us as many questions as they wish on the Israeli genocide that is taking place. We've discussed this for the last several months now. People want to know why it's a genocide. Ask us. People want to know, is Hamas using individuals as human shields? Ask us. Is Israel engaging in apartheid? Ask us. And we'll be willing to address all these particular issues at a number of levels, at a number of particular points. So one thing I just want to make clear pertaining to human shields, which you will have to obviously address, is that Amnesty International, they basically stated quite clearly in relation to the past conflicts in 2015 and then, of course, in 2019, that even if the claim that Hamas is embedded in civilian areas and is guilty of intentionally organizing rocket strikes near residential districts, which obviously must be received with skepticism, in a restrictive enclave like Gaza, which is about approximately 365 kilometers and blockaded from all sides, it is inevitable that any kind of armed resistance to the Israeli belligerent regime will obviously be close to some inhabitants or residential quarters. So Israel's constant invocation of this unavoidable close proximity between Hamas forces and the residential areas, that's a convenient excuse, rather a useless excuse, for the Zionist occupation to nullify the formation of military resistance, which is allowed in terms of international law. So you're basically saying that Israel's got no moral agency. This is your excuse, so they can do what they want to, when they want to, how they want to. And this is the reality of the situation. The wholesale maximum destruction technique that is being used. And I think one of the callers made mention on Saturday about, if there are war crimes committed, these individuals will be charged. Who's prosecuted them? Look at the past couple of months. Look at the 3 Israeli hostages that were killed by the Israeli forces. The Israeli regime made a point that it was a legitimate mistake. So the murderer investigates itself and then says, look, they are absolved of any responsibility. Is that normal behavior? Or for that particular matter, when the World Central Kitchen, the 3 convoys were attacked one after the other. One, half an hour later, another one, half an hour later, the third one. And Israel stated they made a mistake. And then it was accepted that this was a legitimate mistake after the inquiry was conducted. So what rubbish is this? This is the whole point, that your lies and Israeli Zionist supporters' lies, nobody believes them anymore. No one believes these particular arguments anymore. And there's a good radio presenter on a radio show called LBC in the country of those of you who are in the UK. It's a chap called James O'Brien. A few months ago, he raised a fascinating objection against this whole human shields argument with a caller that called in. And the caller told James that, look, Israel cannot be accused of murdering Palestinian children because this is just an unfortunate byproduct of targeting Hamas militants. And so those deaths are not intentional. So what O'Brien did, you must have heard of James O'Brien, Brother Mohammed. What he did was he turned the tables, and then he asked the question, what course of action would Israel have taken if Hamas was hiding in an Israeli residential area? If Hamas was hiding in Tel Aviv, would Israel then, with the Prime Minister and the military defense, would they be allowed to bomb a school or a hospital in Israel, in Tel Aviv, if Hamas was hiding there or underground? So this whole idea of indiscriminate bombing then led James to ask the question, why is it collateral damage if it happens in Gaza? But if the same situation were to happen in Israel, and then, say, for example, Israel goes and they blows up a whole hospital in Tel Aviv because Hamas are hiding inside, would that not be collateral? Would that not be collateral damage? And the answer, of course, is that there's a lack of ability to maintain a moral consistency. Why is it that indiscriminately bombing a hospital inside Tel Aviv would be acceptable, and bombing a hospital in Gaza is acceptable? Sorry, why would it be unacceptable to bomb a hospital in Israel if Hamas was hiding there, but acceptable to bomb a hospital in Gaza? So this is the whole issue, in terms of which that you have a situation that people are saying that Israel's got no moral agency. So again, this human shields argument, which we've heard time and time again, nobody believes this hogwash anymore. Nobody believes the lies anymore. Nobody believes the propaganda anymore. People are seeing this and they working through this. And it's only these junkies out there that are basically wanting to peddle these lies, that they believe in their own lies, and they expect people to follow through and believe in their own lies. So
it's interesting, Brother Yusuf, I just want to mention that, the issue about tunnels. The tunnels, in World War I in 1915, the British used tunnels to attack the enemy. In 1940, the Second World War, the British used tunnels to attack the enemy. In Vietnam War, the Vietnamese, and in Cambodia and in Burma, those individuals, to protect their land, they use tunnels as a means of attacking the invaders. So I really am bamboozled to why they point the fingers at the resistance fighters in Palestine for using tunnels. Throughout history, even throughout the ancient times of the Romans and the Persians, they used to dig tunnels to attack and to gain access to fortresses, to castles, and to other buildings too. So I don't see, I don't see the argument when they say, yeah, but Hamas are building tunnels. But what do you want them to do? They haven't got no military bases. They haven't got any airfields. They haven't got anything. Where do you want them to build? In the clouds, or I don't. This is. Do you understand what I'm saying, Brother Yusuf? Is it hypocrisy? Total hypocrisy.
It's total hypocrisy. But I'll tell you one thing else, and I don't know if I discussed it with you, but and maybe I'll share this here, that some of those Hamas tunnels that we're talking about, which they accuse Hamas of building the tunnels, were actually built by Israel. You see this news report here? This was This was a few months back. This was, in fact, in November last year. There was an interview by Ehud Barak. You see the on the screen. Bunkers under Gaza hospital. This is what he claims were built by Israel, former Israeli. And this is the report that was in the. I think he did an interview with Christian Amanpour. Yeah, Christian Amanpour. That's it there. Former Prime Minister of Israel, Ehud Barak, acknowledged that the bunkers underneath Al-Shifa hospital. By the way, there was no, they lied. Israel lied that there was a military base. There was no military base found. They did find bunkers, but there was no armaments. There was one or two weapons here and there, but no central command that was there. But Ehud Barak basically stated in last year in November that the bunkers underneath that have been currently propped up by Israeli as a reason they needed to bomb and raid the facility were actually built by Israel. He says in an interview on CNN, Christian Amanpour asked whether or not he felt that the Israeli government had sufficiently proved that the tunnels under Al-Shifa was being used as a major command center. In response, Barak said, that's Ehud Barak, it's already known for many years the bunkers that originally were built by Israeli constructors underneath Shifa was a command post, seemingly offering this as a proof. But the issue was that when you say it was built by Israeli engineers, did you misspeak? He says, no. Decades ago, we were running the place. So we held them to build these bunkers in order to enable more space for the operation of the hospital within the very limited size of this compound. So then Christian Amanpour said, okay, that's sort of thrown me a little bit. So these were there for a long time, but you're claiming, or they're claiming that they're used as a major command center. Anyway, the fact of the matter is they have not shown conclusive proof of that. So you see, he made a gaffe. She questioned him, where is your proof that there are these massive military command centers? And he had no proof because there was no proof that there is underground, like some sort of, what they want to present is that it's like some sort of James Bond sophisticated type of villain outfit that is there in Gaza. Like you see, these guys like Scaramanga or some of these villains from a James Bond or spy movie, and they've got the sophisticated evil network that is operating. Yeah. None of that is there. But when questioned about the proof, he gave it up to suggest that there are existing tunnels, but those tunnels were actually built by Israel. This was the report on CNN where he's having this discussion with Christian Amanpour, and he confirms it on record that former Israeli Prime Minister on Israel's Al-Shifa hospital claims when she was
a death zone. That's how the WHO describes Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital after fact-finding missions there. It is now the focal point of Israel's war on Hamas. The head of the organization has also condemned the attack on the Indonesian hospital in Gaza, which killed 12 people, including patients, saying that he is appalled. Israel says it was responding to fire from within that hospital, and it's increasingly under international pressure to produce concrete evidence that Hamas uses Al-Shifa as a major command center, something Hamas and hospital officials deny. Meanwhile...
And this was in November last year, and to date, there's been no evidence, none whatsoever. We are in July, 15th July, no evidence since November.
One whole week since the world first saw these images of dozens of critically ill, premature babies, they have at last been evacuated from Al-Shifa to Egypt, where doctors and nurses were waiting to treat them. Ehud Barak, the Prime Minister of Israel, he's also a former defense minister, and he was chief of the general staff of the IDF. Prime Minister, welcome back to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Can I just start by asking you what is your view of whether your government, your military, has done a good enough job of proving their claim that there was a major command center and bunker under Al-Shifa?
It's already known for many years that they have in the bunkers that originally was built by Israeli constructors underneath Shifa.
You see, he says the bunkers were built by Israeli constructors. when she asked, "What's the proof of the major military command center?"
were used as a command post of the Hamas and a kind of a junction of several tunnels, part of the system. I don't know to say to what extent it is a major. It's probably not the only kind of command post. Several others are under.
He's saying it's probably not the only command post. They were saying it's a major command post.
Other hospitals or in other sensitive places, but it's for sure had been used by Hamas even during this conflict.
When you say it was built by Israeli engineers, did you misspeak?
No, decades ago we were running the place. So we held them. It was many decades ago, probably 4 decades ago, that we helped them to build these bunkers in order to enable more space for the operation of the hospital within the very limited.
He looks confused.
These compounds.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's
okay.
That's me a little bit. So these were there for a long, long time, but you're claiming, or they're claiming,
He
that
says 4 decades ago. 4 decades ago. That's you going back to the 1980s when Gaza was physically occupied by Israeli soldiers and settlers there.
they're used as a major command center. Anyway, the fact of the matter is that as yet, they have not shown conclusive proof of that. So may I ask you what you would...
Christian,
Yeah.
wait a minute. It's not easy. We take care not to hurt the operation of the hospital. So we warned for many days that we are going to come there. Then we came very close, very cautiously in order to avoid a loss of life among the doctors, the patients, or the nurses there. So as a result of it, the Hamas had all the time in the world to try to clean it, to try to erase it, to try to make it less kind of apparent when you come into that it was in use. But we are confident. I cannot go into all the...
So you see, he says now, why is there no evidence? So he says they gave enough warning. So basically, these people had enough time to clean up the operation of the massive military command center. This is a rubbish.
Intelligence we got. We are confident that for years it is already used as a kind of major or non-major, but as a command post for Hamas activities in the northern part of the Gaza Strip.
But you see, what I'm saying, Brother Mohammed, is that this guy here is actually revealing the fact that a lot of these tunnels, they accuse Hamas of building tunnels, but these tunnels, he was questioned specifically by her. What evidence do you have that there are tunnels and that these tunnels are being used as major military command centers? He wasn't able to produce that information, but he made a gaffe, and the gaffe is that he conceded that the tunnels were actually built by Israel decades ago under those particular. So it's got nothing to do with Hamas building tunnels. They may have expanded the tunnels itself. And like you pointed out, there's nothing problematic. If Hamas wanted to build tunnels, they've got no access to the air. They've got no access to the sea. They've got no access to freedom of movement. So nothing prevents them from taking the necessary steps in terms of having those tunnels, even for smuggling of goods and items, which they're certainly entitled to. But this just goes to show how the Israeli Hasbara works and how they lie repeatedly on a number of issues.
Yeah. Also, I want to touch on, Brother Yusuf. I know time is quite limited. Our foreign UK minister, David Lammy, he actually went and shook hands with the Israeli Prime Minister, the Shaitan himself. And Jeremy Corbyn has actually mentioned something on X, or formerly known as Twitter, condemning and actually posting the letter what the ICJ and ICC have written regarding the arrest warrant of the Prime Minister of Israel. So that's a very interesting fact that we can really kind of like take hold on to. And also George Galloway lost his seat recently, but he has contacted the police and he has received some information regarding some issues with their ballot boxes. So in Rochdale, where he was elected, and now he's not elected no more. He's actually campaigning right now, and there's an investigation taking place to get back his seat. So stay tuned, brothers and sisters. There's so much happening, and if he does get his seat back, the Workers' Party of Britain will have a lot more power and a lot more say, especially in the Houses of Parliament. So stay tuned for that. Very interesting developments. Finally, Brother Yusuf, I know time is going very quickly and rapidly. What's your take on this assassination attempt on Trump? Do you think this is a very controversial topic, of course? Do you think the organization that has three letters, and there's actually quite a few organizations that has three letters
CIA?
within, and the FBI and other dark forces, do you think they were behind? Because the close protection have been highly criticized. I know from being a military person that how they reacted was pretty poor to protect him. You know, how did you see that taking place?
You know, I don't know. I don't know, but it's strange that last month, and I saw something here. This was when was this? This was, I think, in June. I think it was in June. Let me just see if I can open up this particular thing where speaking about assassination, and it's strange that you mentioned the CIA on this particular issue. Let me just try and put this and stop this. I just want to share this. This was about, I think, on the 21st of June. I don't support Donald Trump. I think he's a member of the elite, but obviously it's a different batch that he's with, not the elite that was behind the Bush administration or the Clintons. This is a different kind. This was something about, I was surprised to see. This was on the 21st of June 2024. Look at the date. This was, when was this? Friday. This was a couple of weeks back. We're now the 15th of July, so probably about a month, less than a month ago. And Trump had suggested that if he is re-elected, he may release files surrounding the infamous 1963 JFK assassination. So he suggests this report here, this is in the Independent. So it's a reputable news outlet in the United Kingdom. The Independent, I believe it's a tabloid there.
Yeah.
And he suggests that the CIA was behind push to stop him releasing JFK assassination files. And if you look at this, President Donald Trump spoke about the releasing the files surrounding the assassination of President John F. Kennedy in a recent podcast appearance, suggesting the CIA had applied pressure to stop some information about that being released. In fact, I think this is the video, if I'm not mistaken. This is the video. It's about a minute long.
It was released the JFK file. And then you said later, I saw it and I wasn't really ready to do it. And then I saw a clip where you changed your mind and you said, I think we're ready to see this file. And I'm just curious.
What's in it?
Tell us right now. What happened?
I actually did do it. I released a lot, as you know. But when it came to the whole thing, I was hit by some people that worked for me that are great people that you would respect. And they asked me not to do it. And I'm saying, why? Tell me why. And they said, sir, I think it needs a little more time. And I released a lot, but I said, if they feel so strongly, I respect the people and would have done that again. But this time I'm just going to do it.
RFK says the CIA killed his uncle. Do you believe that?
Well, this wasn't CIA that asked me, but I think CIA was probably behind it. But they didn't. They would have preferred that I not release the rest of it. It's going to be done early on. A lot of people want to see that. And whatever it may say, I won't say, so I have an idea. But whatever it is, it'll be very interesting for people to see.
So
it's interesting. It's interesting you say that. You're interesting to say that. Currently, there is a JFK. There is a JFK currently in America, of course, and one of the descendants of the famous politician who was assassinated, and he actually asked for protection. He actually asked Joe Biden and the party to, give funds for his protection and he was denied that. So
Are you
it's
talking
quite
about
interesting.
Robert Kennedy, the
Yes,
son of
the current one.
Robert Kennedy Jr.? Yeah, the anti-vaccine guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So very interesting what's taking place right now. And
Yeah, so it's strange that you mentioned that, yeah. But I was surprised to see that about a month ago he was speaking about assassinations and so on. I mean, I don't know. Look, personally, I don't know. It was a youngster, a 20-year-old. What I even forget his name. I don't know what the motive behind it is. I don't know who is behind. Probably, I'll probably study this, and then in a few days we'll see and get some reports. But it's still too early to say what the motivation is.
Absolutely.
And what's the background behind the whole thing. We can only speculate. Anything we say is speculation. I just thought it quite strange that about a month ago, he spoke about wanting to release the JFK files, classified documentation, which according to him show the CIA's role in the assassination of John F. Kennedy. The same thing with his brother, when they used Sirhan, the guy who was involved in the assassination of Robert Kennedy. I mean, I think he was a patsy. But there's a lot that can be said about the JFK assassination, the angle of the shooter, and there's been many theories over the years on that issue. So you can really never know. Trump is he is an establishment man. He certainly is part of the elite, but he's part of a different elite. He's not part of the elite and the establishment from which the traditional Bush administration or the Clinton administration or the Reagan administration come from. He's from a different establishment entirely. So he is also part of an establishment, slightly more vulgar in his approach and more careless. He's more careless with what he says because he doesn't come from that kind of background. If you look at George Bush Jr., he was kind of mentored by his father as a youngster, the movement with Arbusto. There's an interesting book called George Bush, The Unauthorized Biography by Webster Griffin Tarpley, which I urge people to look at and read on a number of issues which deal with the link between the Bush family and, of course, Nazi Germany, and certainly the support that they gave, at least his grandfather, Prescott Bush. There's a lot that can be said about that. So I don't know. It's interesting to see what happens. I think also there's another point that needs to be made, that it's quite clear, looking at the debates, looking at the state and the mental state of Joe Biden, that if he continues, he's going to lose. There's no chance in hell that Joe Biden will win the next election. I don't know how people can even see that the man can even speak a sentence. He cannot complete a sentence, let alone give a talk. He can't talk without these, what they call this, teleprompters.
That's right.
So this is the situation. I mean, I know people with dementia and at early stages of dementia, and certainly what's going to happen, he's about, 81, 82. So you're looking at the next 5 years. So he's elected in 2025. So it's 25, 26, 27, 28, 2029. That's going to be the next elections. You think the guy will be 81, 82, 83, 84, 85. I mean, you can very well imagine what he'll be if he lives that long in any event, because this will make him the oldest president. But there are many factors, and it's quite clear that it's I don't know if it's planned, but it's like America is just set up to fail. And this is something I was telling the other guest on your show, this character called Mike, that I mean, out of 300 million people, these are the best that you've got. There's no one that's more intellectually competent and capable to lead with policy. Are these the best that the Democratic Party and the Republican Party could choose as your best possible potential candidates to run one of the richest states and countries in the world? I mean, it's insane. It's an insane, mad world that you are living in.
It's interesting, of course, because I listened to George Galloway the other day. He actually, when he had his interview with Piers Morgan, and Piers Morgan asked him, would you trust Putin more than Trump or Biden? He goes, of course I will. I would trust Putin more than these two particular clowns. And plus the clowns that we've got here in the UK, they are all exactly the same. They all got blood on their hands, and they all are going to be damned, inshallah, to hell for what they have signed up for. And no doubt about it. And I know, brother, and I know the time is going very quick.
Just
We
one thing I
initially
want to say, Brother
Go
Mohammed, is that
on.
the truly good people, I mean, you rarely see good people in positions of power. You really see good people. In fact, I gave an example. It was either during the Abbasid period or earlier than that, where someone or a Muslim leader was, the community were vouching him to take the mantle of leadership, which he eventually did, but under immense
pressure and
an immense resistance. He didn't want to. He was concerned. He didn't want to. He just didn't want that kind of power. And the irony is that amongst our politicians today, I mean, it's an egotistical. You have to be an egotistical maniac. I've met many politicians in my life recently, in recent years, and there was a slot I did on a program, ITV. It's not the British ITV. It was called Islamic TV, a local South African channel on the DSTV bouquet, and it was a kind of a political show called I Beg to Differ. We had about 60 episodes. We had a lot of politicians on them, local South African politicians, and dealt with a lot of issues. And one thing that got to me, almost all of them that you discussed, that you interviewed, you have to be either a sociopath or an egotistical maniac to want to be a politician or to be a leader. There's an element. I mean, the one thing we will say, for example, you do a program, I do a program, I do work as a lawyer. If you want to ask me, for example, what's my role, I'd always be, and you'd probably do the same, we're speaking about how we could possibly improve ourselves, or, these are our shortcomings, these are our problems that we have. And with politicians, it's a complete opposite. Despite what a mess up they've made, it's always how well they've done. I mean, listen to your scumbags there, Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer, how successful they've been. Look at the State of the Union, State of the Nation. It's always how good they have done. There's never a position of retrospection in terms of, look, these are the challenges we are facing. We have not been able to do X, Y, and Z. We apologize for not being able to do. So it's sociopaths, nutcases, egotistical maniacs that take positions. The really good people don't. That's why you see people like Jeremy Corbyn. I mean, he won't. He was head of the Labour Party. Unlikely he'll ever become prime minister. Someone like Galloway, I mean, he's a bit of a firebrand, but unlikely he'll ever become prime minister. It's like the system itself is so skewed and selective in terms of how it is set up, that it's certain people that are geared into positions of leadership completely.
I just wanted to put this, regarding, he's mentioned Jeremy Corbyn, and he actually put this on his X, or formerly known as Twitter. He of course, he's an independent candidate, and he became an MP. He got elected, and he posted a very good letter reminding David Lammy, the Foreign Minister of the United Kingdom, that there is a arrest warrant for the Prime Minister of Israel, and you went there and shook his hand. And this is the hypocrisy, the double standards. When George Galloway went to Iraq and he met Saddam Hussein, who turned out to be innocent of all charges, basically, the weapons of mass destruction, being involved with, I don't know, possibly 9/11 and Al-Qaeda and all this kind of stuff. And of course, George Galloway had to go to the Senate, and that was a famous speech where he, changed the effect on the Senate in America. So, brothers and sisters, we really, I am pleading with the audience to share these streams. We need to hit a wider audience. And I do feel, and Brother Yusuf recently had this same experience, where when you speak about Gaza and the Zionist supporters and so forth, YouTube do seem to limit us in projecting the stream. So I sincerely am appealing to you, brothers and sisters who are in the chat, and I know you do fantastic work. You are always there, and I appreciate that. But please share, like, subscribe. There are so many people who watch our shows, but they do not subscribe to the channel. So I am pleading to you all, and people who be watching this, to subscribe to my channel CovFF, of course, my Rumble account and Abu SHUAIB, which is a backup account just in case YouTube just seems to will probably seem to kick me off, and of course brother Yusuf's channel. Let me just put it onto the screen. Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, there we go. The South African Debate Initiative. Please go to it, subscribe to it, because we are really being limited in projecting and giving you the information. So it'd be much appreciated, Jazakumullah khair, if you can just do these things. Barakallah feekum. I just wanted to make that clear, Brother Yusuf, because I do feel that we are being, restricted, or our hands are being tied once we open our mouths when we, talk about the situation in Gaza.
I think, there's actually very true, because YouTube does restrict the algorithms. And I also want to kind of mention this, because we see these, if you've got WhatsApp groups, share these links, share Brother Muhammad's channel. And I can tell you, I'm not trying to, say something just for the sake of saying it, but I find him extremely, he's filled with iman, with humility. And the one thing you won't see from us is we don't do reaction videos. The problem I have, there are a lot of dawah channels out there, and I'm not trying to run down people, but one thing which is shameless within the dawah field is that we have now focused on a culture of selectivity in having reaction videos against. So it's one da'i having a reaction video against another da'i, and then you're running him down. Or, for example, going into fields and avenues where you've got no right to be. You want to discuss, for example, relationship advice. You're a YouTuber. You've got no psychological background, social counseling background. You're not involved in any kind of expertise on that issue. And then you want to give relationship advice to people out there, either men or women or something, or promote the red pill movement, or start refuting this brother or that brother or this individual and try and run down that person's channel. And then you want to get, small minds discuss people. There's a saying, small minds discuss people. And bigger minds, or those minds who want to be bigger, discuss ideas. And I think that's what Brother Muhammad does on this channel. And hopefully, at least I would like to believe on my channel, we want to discuss ideas. We want to discuss issues. We don't care. So people can come and abuse us and swear us, or do other channels and attack us, but we don't care. It's not about us. We don't have we don't care in the least bit about what people say about us. We're not there to stand up and do a YouTube channel because someone has attacked us. We want to discuss the issues of the day. Whether it's on religion, we discuss the ideas, we discuss the faith, comparative religion, the Quran, provide refutations on those aspects. We discuss what's happening in Gaza. We discuss oppression in different parts of the world, both Muslim and non-Muslim. I think that's the aim of these channels. Unfortunate that many YouTubers out there, and particularly those who call themselves da'is, engage in this kind of negative social media vibe, which then permeates the entire dawah circle and does a complete disservice to what the propagation of the faith is, and indeed in certainly some of these issues. So brothers out there in the United Kingdom, the US, South Africa, wherever you are, not so much in South Africa, more particularly I see in your continent, in the European climate, stay away from these kind of negative, just antisocial content that you want to put out, and deal with the issues of the day. Because whilst you may having your internal gaffes or whatever squabbles amongst you out there, most of you, and I know you guys know your channels out there, whichever you are, there are people dying right now at this very moment in the Muslim world, and indeed in parts of Africa, people are being slaughtered. And if we don't speak out for them on their behalf, then there'll be no one else out there to do that. So let's create that voice. Let's create the discourse.
Absolutely.
Let's create that awareness, and let's break down the falsehood, break down the negativity and the stereotypes out there, and of course share the truth and the message with the world. So I'd leave you with that. We'd like to see you this weekend.
Absolutely. I just want to echo what Brother Yusuf said, and I sometimes I think, as he mentioned there, that some of the things that he mentioned about me, probably 25% of it's true. Alhamdulillah. When we do these shows, it's raw. We don't plan anything. It's straight from the heart, straight from the cuff, as they say. And the gloves are on, and we want to give you the information. As you guys know, there are bigger channels than CovFF and the South African Debate Initiative here in the UK. I'm not having a go at them at all. I'm actually just want to mention that I think we are the only channel who goes to Speaker's Corner, arranges discussions and debates, and I'm happy to host on other channels. As you saw me previously on Brother Yemeni's channel, as I host and I've helped out in debates and much more. But I think CovFF and the South African Debate Initiative are the only channels, Dawah channels, who are willing to talk about the situation in Gaza without being afraid or being, demonetized or whatever. For us, this is not a living. The YouTube for me is not a living. The income that I get from YouTube, majority of it actually goes to charity, as you brothers and sisters are fully aware. So any donations or super stickers, super chats, and memberships, majority of them, as Brother Mehdi knows, and other people who normally attend my channel, goes towards charity. Alhamdulillah, I don't need YouTube income to suffice my living, the standard of my living, alhamdulillah. So, brothers and sisters, I am sincerely asking you and requesting you to share these streams on your WhatsApp group, because I know WhatsApp groups, have hundreds and 150 people on a WhatsApp group or whatever. Let's get this channel up and running, and we need this, information to be given out. That's the final words from me, Brother Yusuf.
Yeah, thanks. I echo the same thing. I don't make a cent. I don't make a cent from YouTube. We spend hours, brother Muhammad. We don't make a cent. My channel is not monetized. I work. Brother Muhammad works. It would be good if at some point in time, inshallah, our channels can be monetized. The income could be used to probably get better content and material, and probably increase the studio cost. But we've never asked people for money out there. We'd not monetize. We just want people to share the information out there. We want to educate people out there. So we don't ask people for charity. We don't ask people to come and give donations. Some of these other channels do, and many Zionist channels do as well. We just want to get the information out there. And the least you brothers and the supporters that are regular viewers there, share it on your WhatsApp groups, on some of these other social media outlets like Telegram. Let us be known, so at the very least, we get in our own limited way the information out there which can confront the false information that are being sent out by some of these bigger channels. That's our limited role, and that's at least we can do in our capacity. So we look forward to seeing all of you this weekend, where we'll like to engage with you. You're a Zionist, you're a pro-Israeli supporter, you're a hardcore Israeli supporter. We invite you, and the brother out there who has the video showing the allegations of rape, well, you say you are betting $1,000. I'm going to urge you to then come there. If you cannot produce the video, you pay the $1,000 to a charity that's going to be decided by Brother Muhammad. And we'd like to call you again to come and join us for the session. So till then, we wish all of you the greetings of peace here from South Africa, and Brother Muhammad from the United Kingdom in the town of Coventry.
Of course. Jazakumullah khair. Just a quick reminder, tomorrow we have got a show with our Imam and teacher, Liban Mahir. He'll be talking about sticking to Islam in challenging times. So that's going to be 7 p.m. tomorrow. And I think it'll be live on the South African Debate Initiative, CovFF, and my Rumble account. Then hopefully on Wednesday, I'm trying to arrange Brother Nazam to join me, our beloved brother Nazam, and it'll be fantastic to see him again for Wednesday. And then Saturday, maybe, inshallah, possibly Saturday, I'll be with Brother Yemeni with Paperboy, part 5 of his debate regarding the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then Sunday, I'll be having dinner with the Workers' Party of Britain here in Coventry. So brother donated 11 euros for me to buy everybody a drink. So I'll be doing that on Sunday, inshallah. And then after that, I'm hoping I can catch up with brother Yusuf and do the challenge of join if you dare, inshallah. Or I can do it before that, maybe 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock on the Sunday. And then we can do that together. And then I can go to the dinner with the Workers' Party of Britain. But once again, brothers and sisters, thank you for watching. Really appreciate your support. And we need to really spread this show out to a wider audience. Last words to you, brother Yusuf, and we can wrap the show up.
No, Jazakallah khair, and thank you for that. Yeah, we look forward to seeing all of you. We ask Allah to shower His mercy and His rahmah on the children and the people in Palestine, and certainly in different parts of the world that are being subjected to oppression and tyranny. We ask Allah to protect them and protect them from all kinds of evil, and certainly protect us from all kinds of evil calamities out there. And if we are experiencing difficulties in our lives, both personally or otherwise, we ask Allah to assist us and certainly open the trajectory and our pathway, make our pathway easier in whatever endeavors we wish to engage in. Inshallah.
Okay, beautiful dua, beautiful. So this is your brother Muhammad, the host, and the co-host, brother Yusuf Ismail, who I actually think should be the host of the show, and I'm the co-host. But nevertheless, Jazakumullah khair for joining us, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.